Hello, welcome to the first video on the Skunkworks YouTube channel. If you are watching this video, chances are you're wondering how to know precisely how much thrust you need for your ship. If that sounds like you, you've come to the right place. I am Dredge and Apollo from the faction Pioneers of the Void, and I will be explaining to you why that physics class was useful after all. If you want to calculate the thrust needed for your ship, you need to first understand that thrust is just another word for force. On the Skunkworks servers, we use the build info mod, so you can easily see the maximum force output of any given thruster by simply selecting it in your hotbar and looking for the info box that appears on the left side of your screen. Now, the force required to move an object at a specific rate of acceleration is represented by the equation F equals ma, or force in newtons equals mass in kilograms times acceleration in meters per second per second. I have prepared a test ship to demonstrate this. It has a mass of 16,477 kilograms. It will move forward using a single ion thruster at 5% thrust. 5% thrust on an ion thruster is 17.208 newtons. Now, if you don't mind me, real quick, I'm actually going to respawn this because it is moving, and it should not be. There we go. I'll copy this once again, we will need it later. Right, so like I said, 5% thrust on an ion thruster is 17.280 newtons. This means the ship should accelerate at a rate of 1.048736 meters per second. We know this because if we take the equation F equals ma and rearrange it to A equals F over m, we get the acceleration from force. At 1.048737 meters per second, the ship should accelerate to 20 meters per second after 19.0706 seconds, as modeled by the equation T equals V over A, where T equals the time in seconds and V equals the velocity in meters per second. The ship is configured to stop after 19.07 seconds due to limitations with timers. Let's watch to see if the speed when it starts to slow down matches the calculated speed at 19.07 seconds. As you should have seen, the ship started to slow down at just over 20 meters per second, which is in line with the calculation after giving it room for simulation error. To wrap things up, if you want to calculate how much force and thrust you need to overcome gravity, use the equation F equals m times g, where F equals the force in newtons, A equals the acceleration in meters per second, and g equals the p-gravity in meters per second. The value for p-gravity is found in your hotbar. P-gravity is represented in g's rather than meters per second. Just remember, 1 g equals 9.81 meters per second, which means 0.5 g equals 4.905 meters per second. But that last equation will only tell you how much thrust you need in order to hover. If you want to calculate how much thrust you need in order to reach a specified upwards acceleration in gravity, you need to use the equation F equals m times parentheses A plus g, where F equals the force in newtons, A equals the desired upwards acceleration in meters per second, and g equals the p-gravity in meters per second. Please note that if you're trying to slow a descent, you must use the second equation, as once again, the first one will only let you hover, nothing more. I hope this video was useful in answering your questions about thrust, and I look forward to seeing you on the server. In the description will be the list of all of the equations, as well as the text from the LCD in front of me.